Hey, this is Lord Gates from Rapture Radio, and I'm joined by my cohort, Wild Bill. What's up, Wild Bill? How you
Hey,
doing, buddy?
what's going on, Greg? How you doing today?
Good. And this is our first episode of the Heavy Happy Hour podcast, and I'm ecstatic today, man. I'm really excited to be joined by one of my favorite singers from one of my favorite hardcore bands, Dwid Hellion. Hi, Dwid. How are you?
I'm doing great. Great to see you guys.
Where do we find you these days? You're still over in Belgium?
Yeah, I live in Belgium, outside of a city called Ghent.
Ghent. When and why kind of pushed you to go to Belgium?
I moved here in 2003,
Okay.
so it's been a long time. Basically, my wife is from Belgium, and at the time she watched enough news to be spooked about living in America.
Mm-hmm.
She thought there'd be too many school shootings and things like that. And I never experienced anything like that when I lived in the States, but she had her reservations. And it's a nice change of pace, a change of location and scenery, and it's a nice place to live.
You mentioned you never seen anything like. You grew up in Indiana, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And then when did you move to Cleveland?
Well, I grew up in Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
I was born there, and when I was about 8 or 9 years old or so, I moved to Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay.
And then I lived there for several years. And then I was about 16. My parents, we relocated to Cleveland, Ohio. And I lived there for until I was about 30.
Okay. Was it military family?
No, my family worked. My father and my stepmother worked as upper management at General Electric.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they moved a bit for that.
Yep.
But that wasn't where Indiana. They weren't working there at that. My father wasn't working there at that time. But that's what the Louisville and the Cleveland connection was. And at some point from Cleveland, they moved to Connecticut, and then now they're retired.
That's where we're from. We're both from Putnam, Connecticut. What part of Connecticut did they move to?
Gee, I can't remember the name of it. I want to say, is there a Hartfield or
Hartford?
Hartford.
Yep.
Hartford. That might have been it. Yeah.
We were about 45 minutes east of there. Bill and I grew up kind of like in the corner of Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts. So we were able to go to Boston to see shows. And then the same show would go to Club Babyhead in Providence. And then it would go down the shoreline to like hard hitting New Britain, or, the Tune In. Remember the Tune In? Yeah, that's where the
Teddy
video.
Toll.
What's that?
No, Tune In. Tune In is Connecticut. Yeah,
Connecticut,
I was thinking Albany.
Yeah, and then Hartford would get stuff too, Springfield, Mass. So we kind of did the circuit. If we found a band that we liked, we would go see them in like 4 different states. Yeah. Not the same way down in North Carolina now where I am, and Bill's down in Florida. I got to drive like 2 hours just to get to a venue. I'm sorry, Georgia.
Don't you insult me like
that. You lived in Florida for a while, though.
No, I did. I lived in St. Pete for 25 years. So
yeah, I used to live in Anna Maria Island for a while.
Oh, nice.
Oh, cool.
Very cool.
What you know where that is? It's right by St. Pete.
Oh yeah. No, well, yeah. How long ago was that?
Oh, I would just live there with my grandparents sometimes, off and on, but it would be in the 80s.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I visited. I think the first time was like 86, Indian Rocks Beach. My brother was living there. And then right after high school, I was supposed to go in the Marine Corps and messed up my knee. So they wanted me to wait. So I said, well, I'll go to Florida for a year. I had to wait like a year. So I was like, I'll go to Florida and, live on the beach and do something. So my cousin who played in the band with Greg passed away a couple of years ago, but him and I went down just like for the hell of it. Just went down there and hung around for right around a year before I ended up going to the Marine Corps. But it was, it was cool. I liked it. And then I said, I was in Hawaii. I got stationed in Hawaii, so it was tough going from like, where do I go after Hawaii? So
yeah,
I thought about everywhere. Like I wasn't just going to go back to the States. Kind of like you know, your wife said, let's get away from the U.S. Let's go here. It's beautiful here. I'm from here. So I traveled. I got to travel around a lot. So I was like, man, I could go to Japan. I really like Japan. And then I thought I'd be homesick. So I ended up going right back to St. Pete and spent 25 years there prior to getting a job and working up here in Georgia now. So
Cool.
that's cool. Yeah,
we were talking before you got on the air here with Dwid that so you used to be, I don't know if you might still be, but you grew up with Derek Green from Outface.
Yeah.
See, I'm pushing my age now. I didn't say Sepultura. I said Outface.
That was his first one of his first bands.
Friendly Green, man. Friendly Green.
Yeah. I did the artwork layout for that record.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. We were just talking about it. I have the, are they called maxi discs or something? It's like the cardboard.
It was like a pocket.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
Kind of deal.
It was cheap. That was
like
cheap.
I think that it was more environmental was their
okay.
I think it wasn't about cheap, but it was about trying to not waste plastic.
You could hold a whole stack of them like in your car, instead of having the cassette tapes on the side of you had like a stack of them. But where did you met in Cleveland?
Yeah, well, we met before we had bands, and we were into skateboarding, and that's how I met Derek through a friend named Bill Gill, and we were into skateboarding together. We were on like a skateboard team together. We just made up ourselves. It wasn't a real team. It was like kind of like in the 80s, in the mid 80s, there kids would like cluster in little skateboard teams. It'd be 5 or 6 kids.
I'm Caballero. No, I'm Tony Hawk. No,
I wasn't so much like that, but it'd be like we'd have like a little reason to make stickers and t-shirts and stuff.
Right.
And we just skate around together and we were good friends. And then we had another group of friends who were on a different team. And some of those guys ended up having bands too, like Charlie Garriga. He was also in Outface, and he was in Gorilla Biscuits and Judge now. And he was on a different team. They were better at skateboarding than me and Derek's team, though, to be fair. They were much more talented.
I'm curious. What did you roll for a deck? What did you have for a deck?
Well, it would change a lot. I had a lot of Zorlak boards, and I had Alva, Bill Danforth. I had, and I mean, with the Zorlak, you had pus head, so I was always attracted to that.
Couldn't go wrong with that.
Yeah,
anything. But awesome.
I had a Gibson Zorlak, and I had a whole lot of boards. I had a JFA Don Lincoln board. It was like a hammerhead. I think I broke that in 2 days. And then when the different shapes, when the double kicks came out, that would be I guess like Blind. I had that, and I've always been a fan of Mark Gonzalez.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
And I had a Vision Gons at some point too.
Yeah. I had Bill will remember this. So Bill and I both played drums. Bill, you remember for the longest time on my bass drum, I had what is it? Is it the Thrasher Shredder? The weird looking alien thing that's riding a skateboard, but it's actually a Bowie knife. Do you remember that?
Mm-mm.
Do you remember that thing? I'll pull a picture up of it after, but I had that. I had bought the sticker to put on my board. I bought a blank board, and I just, for some reason.
Oh, I think you mean the Sim Slasher.
That's it, the Sim Slasher. He
had a knife that he was, I think,
he was riding a Bowie knife. Yeah, the skateboard was a Bowie knife. He had like a long tongue, and
he's like a goblin or something.
Yes. And my mom bought it for me for my birthday. She bought me the sticker, and then I had a blank board. But then I got into hardcore music, and I put every single sticker I had on my board, like everything from, up front, uppercut, Gorilla Biscuits, Judge, Youth of Today, Sick of It All every friggin' band I could do. And then I had the leftover stickers, and I put all those stickers on my drum set. I had a 1987 Pearl Export. And Bill remembers that. I covered it. I was the opposite. What did you do?
My skate deck didn't have anything. I had like the bones on it, the little plastic rails and all that, and the tailpiece. Remember, was that bone? not bones. What are they called? The little skid pieces, like the plastic pieces
on
you
the
put
bottom?
Tailbone,
Tailbone,
tail
right?
guard.
Yeah, I had all those. That was like
Yeah.
the only thing because I had the Powell Peralta with the skull holding the sword.
Yeah,
The white deck.
that one's
I
awesome.
had white trucks and white wheels. I was like, oh, this is. And then
I think that was McGill with the sword.
Yep.
was that the Mike McGill?
Yeah,
think
because I just watched Bones Brigade and they actually showed that one, but that
Yeah, I
one,
had
yeah,
that,
cool.
and I had a Kevin Staub, like the
Oh,
first
yeah.
model of the Kevin Staub. It was like a pirate or something crazy. And then I did have a Zorlak one that was like the skull with the weird, like it was skull looking face with the weird scraggly hair.
In like the late 80s and the early 90s at St. Pete, they had a pool park that you could go to. Did you ever go to that place?
No, that's I stopped skating. We started in like 83, 84 because I'm old.
Okay.
And then
Maybe
we
they built it
stopped.
after that then.
They probably did because they've got the yeah, because I think they moved. There was some stuff that they had that they moved. They had in storage for a while. The one older guy, like the kid that opened the skate park in Tampa, had stuff. And I don't know if I think you guys played at the Integrity played at that skate park years ago.
Oh,
I don't know if
okay.
you remember that show.
I remember there was like a hurricane or something, I think.
I would unfortunately I wasn't there, but a really good friend of mine, Peyton. If Peyton will listen to this, he'll get a kick out of it. And Peyton is he's a big dude. He kind of looks like Derek Green. He's a big black guy, big crazy looking guy. Great guy. And Peyton was at the show and he like called me the next day to tell me about it. But he said something happened with your mic. And you said, fuck it. And you threw the mic down and you just screamed the vocals. Do you remember that show?
That happens too often. So
really? Yeah, I kind of figured. And he said he's like, dude, it was just awesome, man. He's like,
I remember there was some kind of bad weather but maybe it was a different one. But I remember someplace we played, it was real bad weather and they were thinking about canceling because of the weather. And
that was probably it. I think it was crappy weather around that time. Yeah.
I know every time I saw you, it was impossible for you not to give the mic to someone because there'd be 40 people on stage on a pig pile, early 90s, just trying to scream every single, and all I'm thinking in my head is just let the guy who wrote the song sing it. You're not going to sing it any better if you're not in the band. Trust me, you're not. But you just be like, hey, fuck it, whatever, you kind of back up a little bit and people be fighting each other. I mean, I remember that one show from the tune-in that I went to. I think you played with Yuppie Side in '94. And I filmed it. I posted it up on YouTube. I've sent you the link to it. It was one of the most banana shows I ever went to because just you never knew it was packed. It was hot. It was in March, but it was hot in the club. The walls were just like dripping with condensation.
Was there two different tune-ins, or what was that other place in Connecticut where there was like a little record store in the middle of the place?
Oh, that was the tune-in.
Like a cage.
You walk in, and to the left was the record store, and to the right was the stage. That was a tune-in. And then New Britain had the Sports Palace, which was like a hockey rink or something like that. And then there was the Agora Ballroom, and most of the shows I went to in Connecticut were DIY shows. They were at like American Legions and Knights of Columbus and shit like that.
There's some place I remember that I was confused with the tune-in as having like in the middle of the venue, like a refreshment house or
that was the tune-in. You walked in the front door and the stage was to the right.
But did they move the tune-in? Because I played the tune-in not too many years ago and it was totally different than that. It was smaller.
Oh no, the tune-in
any kind of build.
The tune-in's gone. You're probably thinking of the Space. Maybe it's called the Space.
Maybe they just took the name.
Yeah, I think that's the venue. You walk in and there's like a little food area, and then you go around the corner. There's a record store.
Oh, that might be the.
That might be it. Yeah, I think it's kind of looking back. Connecticut really didn't have too many venues. It was more. I mean, Bill and I always went to Providence because we were 30 minutes away. Boston was like maybe an hour and 20 minutes, something like that. Hour and 15,
give or take. Usually at night coming home it was fast, but going during
But it was. I preferred Providence because I liked the group of people that were in the Providence scene. You go to some other places and you didn't know what to expect. You didn't know anybody. And they'd follow you out of the show after if they wanted to kick the shit out of you, for no apparent reason because they didn't know you. Not like you ever dealt with any of that, right? I mean, you never dealt with anybody, right? I mean,
people like to be offended by us, and
I always, okay. So here's my question with that. What is there more fiction than fact when it comes to the rumors regarding the early days of Integrity not playing shows because of the possible violence against the bands and stuff?
Well, the real story with most of that stuff is in the beginning, before the internet, people would just put your name on a flyer, period. They wouldn't contact you.
Right.
And then they'd have the local bands all on the bill. And then they would put a different band's name on the flyer too. Because there was no internet, you'd have no way of knowing that somebody was falsely advertising you were playing there. So people would go there and they'd say, those bastards.
Fucking asshole. You can swear. Those fucking assholes.
They'd say those jerks wouldn't show up.
Yeah.
But guess what? We're going to have a good time anyways, guys. Here's our band. Right. And, I'd usually be the guy who set it up, had a band too. And, it was like that nine times out of 10.
They were catfishing you guys, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. But, there was no internet to catch them, to catch anybody with that stuff. You used to just do phone calls and write, letters with postage stamps and stuff. You didn't have the internet to be like, hey, someone's pretending that you're playing there. They did that a lot to the blues people too, back in the day. Yep. They would those guys used to go down and go on tour, and they'd bring guns and chase down the guys who were pretending to be them on tour. And there wasn't MTV or TV, so you had no idea if that was the guy on the record or not.
With a good old Blues Brothers boys band,
Howlin' Wolf or someone, they'd find out some guy was just dressed up, pretending to be him and getting paid, going around doing his numbers or something,
And then they want.
So it's kind of like a deal like that, I suppose. I'm not really one for rumors and gossip. So
no, we always thought when I hung out with my cousin Randy, he's the singer and bass player for the band Cable, and our thing was we would just show up at any show, and I know what venue you're talking about, the Anthrax.
No, I know what the Anthrax is.
Was that the venue?
I wasn't there, but I've been there before. That was a cool club too.
Yeah, we used to go there a lot and see a lot of bands, and like all the bands would come from New York. So whenever
I saw Youth of Today and Side by Side and maybe Gorilla Biscuits and
Raw Deal, Vision,
all those. I think I was only there one time, maybe twice, but the one time I know Youth of Today played and Side by Side, but I can't remember the other groups. Maybe Bold
was probably there. It was always a staple. Whoever was over the line in New York used to play there. But whenever we would see a flyer that had an out of state band, like from way the hell out on the West Coast or wherever, or Midwest, we were like, we hope they play, because you never knew. You don't fucking know. You never know. The kid that put the show together, hopefully out of the kindness of his heart, he was doing it right. But there were a lot of scammers back then.
Yeah, that's how it goes, now, but it's not so easy for people to do that stuff. So
good.
No, it's, you guys have been a band for 33 years, right?
Yeah.
And it's,
you can tell from my beard.
Yeah, I know, right? We're all there with you, buddy.
Hey, I'll be 51 next month. So
yeah.
I feel some days I feel 21, some days I feel 91.
50 in November. Yep. And same here.
I was 50 in February.
Okay, nice. So we're all there, man. We're at that. You're at that age.
I got you by a year.
Yeah. So you're still doing this because you love it, right? Is it safe to say that? I mean,
yeah, it's I would say love too, but it's also like a weird drive for me. It's like therapeutic for me. It's also a way for me to express different philosophical ideas or spiritual ideas or questions I have about myself, my life, the universe, just the things that I can't explain. And it serves that type of a purpose for me. And I don't know what I would do without that kind of outlet, mentally. I do other kinds of creative things from time to time, but this seems to be something that just always comes back. It's almost like being a Pentecostal preacher at times as well. Maybe inverted version of that, but
right. Kind of a little.
It happens.
Yeah. I don't see you in Human Furnace donning the the collar or anything.
Well, if you think about the Bible, it's a lot more evil than any of the books.
Old Testament's terrible. Everybody dies, they turn to pillars of salt, and God tells them to kill people and all that. Listen, I'm a recovering Catholic. I've been recovering for years. 8 years of Catholic school, bloody knuckles, kneeling on heating vents, Bibles in hand, all that, belts and all that shit. So trust me, I am right there with you where my beliefs have gone full around. I know a little bit about your background, and I know that the cool thing, the one thing I always thought was really cool about you and Integrity is that it's not just the music, but it's also the art that goes with it. It seems like you put yourself completely into the, I don't want to say project, that's too informal. You put it into the art, whether it's the drawings or the lyrics or the music or whatever. Am I kind of right on that one?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, any kind of tool that I can find to make something, I put it into this. And so it's just it's a way of exercising my demons and exercising my demons, both both ways of looking at it, I guess. But
I'm going to use that one. I'm going to take that.
Feel free.
Hold on, write that down.
And one thing I noticed too is listening to all, because obviously when we wouldn't be talking to you if we weren't big fans. But everything that you have starting back, I mean, like the very first recordings that you guys released up until Howling. And you've had a couple things like singles and stuff come out.
Yeah, just some singles.
So all that stuff in there, regardless. And I know you've had a lot of different musicians play on all this stuff through the years, which is common, but one thing that's always been it's always been consistent. Like you can't, like you didn't veer off into anything. From what I hear, there's different guitar tones. There's different, really cool, different effects, instruments, and stuff like that. But it's always like if you put on an Integrity song, right away. I mean, definitely when your vocals start, it's an Integrity song. That's obvious. But I think even before that, like just the riffs, like I don't know. It's so hard to describe when people ask me, like about bands, and Integrity's always been one of my favorite bands for a long time. I mean, I got an Integrity tattoo on my leg, and we were talking about this before, but it's always been because I think I've always been a big fan, and it's because of that consistency. There's never been bullshit, which is hard. When I was thinking about this before we were gonna, like last night when I was getting ready to go to bed, and I was talking to my wife, and then I was laying in bed and I'm thinking about different bands and different things. And I was thinking about I'm like, there's been albums, obviously there's albums you like more than others, but there's never been anything where I'm like, that's just shit, man. Like I can't listen to that. And that's a rarity, I think, man.
Thank you.
And the fact that, like I said, somebody can put it on and I can hear, and I'll know it's Integrity. Just, even with different players, it's just something that you can't really explain.
It's like the mood.
It's like the DNA.
Yeah, I think there's an atmosphere.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, the atmosphere.
There's a universe to it.
It's like you put the Integrity record on, and the ceiling kind of drops down a little more, and the walls kind of close in a little bit, and you get that.
It gets real dark, and you get the mist.
Yeah, the floor starts to bubble, and smoke comes up from the.
Oh, fuck, I wasn't gonna go that way. Fucking Greg is talking about.
I might be talking about peyote. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Fucking DMT.
I get what Bill says, and to go off of that, when you guys first came out, it was 88, 89. Was it 88?
1988 was when it started.
Is the 7-inch came out first, or was it or did you have a demo?
Demo,
And then 7-inch, and then Those Who Fear Tomorrow.
Yeah.
I was listening to so much like Youth Crew stuff.
I think there was a cassette single before those.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay. I listened to so much Youth Crew stuff and so much posy, just don't do this, don't do that, don't eat meat, don't do this, don't drink, don't smoke, don't do all this. And then Integrity came out, it was like, ugh, and I was like, that's what I want right there. I used to listen to metal, and now that's what I want. I want to bridge the hardcore and the kind of the metal together. And oh my God, especially Those Who Fear Tomorrow, that's my favorite record. This is my second favorite record. Okay.
Oh, thanks.
And this is the first record and this one are perfect in my mind records.
Oh,
flawless. You're welcome. I mean, the artwork, the sound and everything. But when you guys first came out, you didn't sound like anybody. Not that whole, whether it was West Coast or New York, whatever was coming, you were right in the middle, literally, because where Cleveland was, and it just stuck, man. And I agree with Bill. You haven't sacrificed or you haven't kind of mailed it in on any one of your albums, especially on the vocals and the lyric side. But it's that feeling before the roller coaster takes off, that feeling of uneasiness, like, why the fuck did I get on this thing? And then you're like, yeah, this is why I got on it. Woohoo! And
I call it like if you're on a plane, you're like a C-130 and you're strapped to this big 2-ton cargo thing and you get pushed out the back.
Yeah.
What is it like when you listen to a lot of the Integrity stuff? It's that feeling like,
that's a great compliment.
like, holy fuck. And then people have asked me because of my tattoo, which I don't know if I can show it on here. See it?
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So people have asked me, they see that, especially like at jiu-jitsu, people go, oh, what is that skull you have? What does that mean? I said, it's a band Integrity. And they're like, oh, cool. That's a cool logo. What is it? And I got a question about the logo in a second. I'll get to that. But they said, well, what do they sound like? Are they heavy? I'm like, yeah, they're heavy. And they're like, well, what do they sound like? I'm like, well, I got to put this the right way so I don't insult them or anybody else or make myself look like an asshole. I said, it's kind of like if you took Motorhead and Slayer and smashed them together.
Oh, that's
and
good.
There was a little Lemmy born out of it. And he has this fucking crazy band. That's what good. It's like. That's what you're like. You're like the Lemmy of metal.
Little Lemmy.
And I fucking love.
I'll take it.
I love fucking Motorhead and Slayer. So and Lemmy. I never met him, but we have.
We just did a cover of Cradle to the Grave.
Yeah, I saw that.
Fucking amazing. Right. And that's my next thing. Talking about the logo. Where did the logo come from? Because the guy that I know that's a tattoo guy, I just did this they did this auction for like bands and venues and stuff that are not getting suffering from COVID, which is a million of them. They did this auction for this bat, and it was on the bat is a Both, from Immortal, like his face. The guy painted. This guy's name is Mark Jackson.
Okay.
And his banner that he has when he's tattooing is got the Integrity skull on it.
Oh,
I was wondering, I'm like, this can't be but he's older. So I'm like, is this the guy that made up the skull or did you make up the logo?
No, I took it from a comic book, a vampire comic book, because I was a fan of
like Danzig did.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it came from. Because what happened, I read that interview with I think it was with Pusshead and Danzig, and he asked him where the Sam Hain skull came from.
Yeah.
And then I was reading this comic book in 1988, and I said it clicked with me, like it's a painting, it's not a drawing.
Yeah.
And I just redrew it based off that. And it's not the actual character in the story, it just is like an extra decorative page. It has nothing really to do with the story or the comic or any of the characters in there, which is in a way similar to the Chris Star comic that the Sam Hain is from. Yeah. It doesn't really have any real relevance. It's not like
just
a
on a wall, right? It was on the wall on the cover or something, right? Or inside.
The Danzig one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like in space. It was like,
It's
that
like
what-
they were
okay,
like
okay.
standing on it or something. They
yeah,
were
it was
like,
kind of like coming at him in space.
yeah.
I think it was meant to imply like impending doom.
Out of
or-
all comic books, Crystar too.
I know.
Yeah, so that was also part of it. I don't want to
crazy.
pick Chris Star or some
Yeah.
kind.
Yeah.
I wanted something that meant something, and this is actually a really cool vampire story. That's kind of an existential vampire story that continues on, and it kind of talks about more than just being a vampire, but repeating the same mistakes and the same triumphs and the same, trudges that you go through in life. And the comic book resonated with me, so I thought, well, I'll try to redraw this and see what happens. Because as most people, I was a fan of Misfits and Sam Hain, and so that was my sort of my blueprint. Or as a teenage kid, I didn't know much more. So that's where it spawned from.
I actually have a question that regards vampires. So, how did you get involved with Mike Hill from Tombs to do the vocals on The Hunger?
He had done an interview with me for Holy Mountain Printing. They did.
Oh, yep.
And after we did the interview, he said that he had a band. He's also a journalist, and he said, "I have a band, and would you be interested to do a song with me?" And so I did it. And
it's cool. That video is that. I mean, he touches the music video is great because he touches on all of the horror of the vampire movies that him and I. He does a podcast with my cousin Randy from Cable.
Okay.
I can't remember the name of it off.
Is it Gimme Metal or?
No, they broke away from that, and now it's Everything Went Black is one of them. Road to Ruin. Road to Ruin is the new one. They just started. But if you watch the music video, he's got shit in there from Near Dark, Lost Boys, The Hunger, Bram Stoker's Dracula, all the Nosferatu, Salem's Lot. And I know he's a big horror fan, like I am, like Bill is as well. And I just thought it was real cool. You've actually lent your vocals.
I have a Nosferatu doll here.
Rad.
That's real.
That's awesome. That's the Hollywood. What is it?
That's the new one that came out. And it comes in a little.
Yeah, it comes in a little coffin. That's awesome.
You can change his head.
We're showing dolls. If you can name this one, I'll be impressed. Probably not. It's pretty fucking obscure. You see this guy? You know that?
I know who that is.
I know. Is that a wrestler?
Yes.
But he's in a movie.
I don't follow too much wrestling. I don't know that much about it.
He was in
Escape from New York.
Escape from New York. And he lived in Connecticut, and he actually worked as a driver for my cousin's car dealership. He used to drive cars from the auction. Can I say who it is?
Yeah,
Ox Baker. That's Ox Baker.
Okay,
yeah,
he was in a couple movies, man.
He beats the shit out of Kurt Russell.
He always looked like a vampire to me whenever I saw him, because he was always really white and he's fucking huge. Yeah. He died a couple years ago, but my brother, I met him. My brother-in-law was working. They were building a power plant here. My brother-in-law, he was a security guy at the gate, so my brother-in-law would see him every day, and he's like, "Hey, you're Ox Baker. That's great. I used to watch you years ago." And got on somebody's like, "Yeah, my brother-in-law is deployed. He's in Afghanistan, yada yada." He goes, "I'd like to send him some stuff." He's like, "Well, I got dolls, man. Let me send him a doll." He goes, "You want bloody or unbloody?" So, that's right, guys. I always thought it was pretty cool. It's traveled around.
That's cool.
He tried to sell me a cookbook when I saw him. He was doing a signing outside of a comic book store. And he's like, "You want to buy a cookbook?" And I go, and I'm like thumbing through the recipes, and it's like Ox Baker meatloaf.
I have that one too.
That one's cool too. Yeah, that one's awesome.
Yeah,
we're all.
I have that one, and I have the Danzig. I don't have the Misfits one. I have
the other Danzig. I have the Misfits one, and then Dr. Chud released one of his own. Did you ever see that one?
Yeah.
No, but I saw the Jerry and I saw the Doyles.
Doyle ones, the ones that came in the coffins.
I've seen them. I don't have them. Yeah.
No, they have it that style, like that.
Oh, they do.
Yeah. No, they have them like this,
one.
like this.
Medicon, I think it's called.
Yeah. Yeah.
The ones that are cool now, the Pop. Have you seen the Pop Funko album covers? They have the Black Sabbath album cover, and the girl on the Black Sabbath is like this little tiny
Oh,
figure.
and a pop.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a
I haven't
pop.
seen that. I
And
can imagine.
and it's either next week or the week after, they're releasing the Ace of Spades one, where it's the album cover and it's a little Lemmy, little small
wow.
Lemmy, and they have a couple other ones too. My Chemical Romance.
The problem, you start buying
Queen.
those fucking things.
Oh,
and next thing you know, you've
I
got
have a
no
Lemmy
CD.
from that pop series. I don't.
Which
It's
one
not
do you
from
have?
an album version. That's
Yeah, I have that. I have that one in my office at work.
Yeah.
I have the Lemmy. I got a couple Lemmy things from.
Yeah.
That
Did you do you have a certain preference for what or who you like to cover if you do cover songs? Because I see you're kind of all over the place with the cover stuff.
Well, it depends. I mean, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. You know,
Right.
Motorhead seems to work pretty good. Like you said before, my
Yeah.
voice can sound quite similar sometimes, and we always have, for lack of a better word, cock rock solos in our songs.
Yes, you
So
do.
doing
yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
80s
That's
kinda
the
stuff.
best. That's the best.
Yeah,
man.
so
Yeah.
80 songs, you know, we can sometimes pull that
Bark
off.
at the Moon, man. That one's one of my
Yeah.
favorites.
Yeah, got my Aussie shirt on, my
Yeah.
Aussie Crew
Yeah.
92 shirt on.
What did you, Bill? What did you want to ask him? You had sent a question. Was it Ozzy or Sabbath?
I don't know, when I looked at them, like, God, dude, they look fucking stupid. He's gonna think we're like never talk to anybody.
They
I'm
weren't
like,
really
wow,
questions. They were
like,
more like,
when you text stuff, like text or email, sometimes it sound like you want to get fucking punched. I'm like, oh man, I gotta word this shit better. Because you asked me and I was in the middle of something, so I just put it real quick and I look back. I'm like,
he
fuck, I
says,
should've-
do you prefer Ozzy or Sabbath?
oh yeah, Ozzy or Sabbath. You had to pick one.
Geez, I have to pick
Ozzy.
one.
Yeah, you got to pick one.
Can you just pick
Who
Ozzy
is it?
Sabbath?
I mean, they both have their own qualities to it. Even though Ozzy was in Sabbath for a bit, there's a different mood to that. You know, like when we
Yeah.
said the cock rock. I think when Ozzy's, I mean, obviously he's had a very long career, but the '80s, early '90s Ozzy's, the real cock rock lead stuff. That's what I like
Yeah.
a lot.
The Jakey Lee stuff and the
Yeah,
Zach.
Randy.
Randy
and
Rhodes,
Zach.
man. Yeah, fucking.
Yeah.
And I like Zach Wild as well, and I like No More Tears a lot.
Yeah, that's a good record. That kind of stops with me for the Ozzy stuff. I lean more towards the Sabbath, and I really love Dio Sabbath. I just think Dio Sabbath. They've been re-releasing all the Mob Rules and Heaven and Hell with all that live tracks.
I've never been, and this is so weird, man. I've never been a big Dio fan. I don't know
No,
why.
solo
He's
or
great,
Sabbath?
the guys. Either. Like,
No.
I mean, I like it if it's on. Like, I can listen to it, but I don't like. I've never gone out of my way to buy like a Dio album or to buy like Sabbath with Dio. I don't know what the hell it is, man.
I love Holy Diver and
Yeah, that I do have.
Last
I do
in
have
Line?
that CD.
yeah, Last in Line, and I love those records. As a kid, I would like listen to those and imagine shit, you know. Whatever.
Oh, it was
I
great.
can still remember that kind of intro
Yeah.
where he says that poem, you know,
Oh yeah,
"Ship Without a
Ship
Storm."
with it. Yeah. I remember the videos were so fucking cheesy with the sword and the
I
last
don't
in
even
line.
think I ever saw the videos.
No, oh, dude,
Really?
go,
Oh,
please
he
go
always
down
had
that
like the
rabbit
over
hole.
the top. Yeah,
Yeah.
he has over the top video.
He's like this tall. He's this big, and the sword is like this big. It's huge. And he's
So
like,
did they
"Yeah."
make the videos years after the album, or
No, they
No,
were
they made 'em
promotional
during that
videos during
time.
that time. They just
So they're super
MTV
cheesy.
never really showed them because
Okay.
when the hell did Headbangers Ball start? Probably
88?
mid 80s, late 80s,
87, 88.
right?
Yeah.
And that stuff
86.
came out in 80 earlier, so it wasn't
Yeah, so
really
that's
popular.
I was listening to it. I think 83, 84, whenever
Yeah.
it came out.
Yep.
So I don't even know. I think that I don't remember when MTV started. Wasn't it around close
80,
to there?
1980.
84.
Was it 80 proper? Oh,
84, I think, right? Or was it 80 you said?
No, it was 80. 80,
80?
81.
Yeah, and
it
the
was
Bungles,
real early.
video
Yeah.
Killed the Radio Star was the first song, right?
But the whole
First
metal
video.
didn't really start on there until
I think
with
Quiet Riot and
fucking-
Twisted Sister. were
yeah,
on it.
Def Leppard, shit like that.
Yeah,
Motley
but
Crue.
I don't remember Dio or anything.
Nope, they
I
never
think
showed it.
Motley Crue was on there. I remember.
Yeah.
Yep. Bill and I grew up.
That's that's the singing. I don't know, but Dio has singing like that kind of too. So I don't know. Maybe Dio was too seriously satanic for him or something. Like it was too scary.
Yeah.
And like Motley Crue was kind of like
Not really though.
comedy,
Motley,
satanic.
shout at the devil, and
You think that they took it serious?
Yeah.
But they played it, so they must
play-
have.
yeah.
Who's that? Motley Crue? You
Yeah.
think they?
Yeah.
I
I mean, I love Motley Crue. I'm not talking.
No, I
trash on it.
think
I'm just-
MTV.
I think MTV
looked
was
at
like,
it.
yeah, these guys are jokers. or
Yes.
something.
Yeah, I think
I don't think
They
I
wear
think
makeup and they're singing about they're not
Yeah.
serious. But then again, they
They
wanted.
probably
it's like-
thought Dio was the real deal, and Motley Crue.
But he's
was-
like this tall. How could he like?
He's
He's
still
not gonna-
Dio.
He's not going to offend anybody.
He can
Come on now.
shapeshift. He can
Oh, he can
shapeshift. He's going to go to their house and fucking stab them while they're sleeping. Play my video. Oh, I'm not kidding you. I don't know why.
I'll
you
have to
an
look
extra-
on YouTube and see some videos. Of
Oh,
those.
please pull. Last in Line is
I didn't
great
know
because it's a
he- I didn't know
sci-fi
he had
one. It's
them.
awesome. Yeah, they're hilarious.
But maybe
Um,
there was other video channels that would air them at that time. But in Indiana and places where I lived, they didn't have it.
We had Friday night videos. I don't
And
know if that was
V66.
national, but yeah,
Oh, yeah,
V66.
what was that? Night Flight or something?
Night Flight was another one, but that was more cheese. That was like,
Chicago and stuff.
yeah, it was
Night
more,
Ranger.
yeah, shit like the kind of arena
Sister
rock,
Christian on
Boston,
repeat.
shit like that. Yeah.
No,
Um,
no more.
Hey, Bill had a question.
How about the shoes?
Yeah,
The fucking shoe you talked about, you were wearing the Air Jordans back then. We were
I
talking
think
about
I
that.
have some in the background, probably.
Yeah.
Oh, Can
Well,
you see it? Or
is that the same style?
Those are black
he-
and red, probably, and some other colors.
Yeah, we talked about that because I had like 4 pairs of those, and Greg said that you had answered you got them when they were clearance, and that's what I got. Like the first pair I got
Yeah.
were the white ones with a yellow stripe. Do you remember those? They had a yellow stripe.
I never had the yellow stripe. I don't remember that, but what happened was they had they made the Air Jordan 1s, which were either black and red or black, red, and white.
Yeah.
And then they made the second Air Jordan, and I think that they didn't know what to do. Like they had the dead stock, and they were like, fuck, what do we do with this shit? So they put it in where we live, was called Value City, which was like a cheaper clothing store,
Mhm.
like not secondhand, but last year's fashion, you know? So people who maybe they couldn't afford the new fashions, they'd go there. And because of skateboarding, I would go through shoes a lot. And and at some point kids were skating in Air Jordans. I think because of Powell, the Powell team was doing that. And then, they'd last a lot longer than Vans.
Yeah.
So, but you could still bust a hole in them with the grip tape. So my father would be angry that I wasted all this money on shoes because he had no idea why I put this hole kept coming in the shoe. Because if you don't know anything about skateboarding, it must seem pretty ridiculous, like that I'm just cutting a hole in it or something. So at some point they were like $10 a pair, I think. And, maybe shoes cost $100 a time, or I don't remember what they cost. So I said to my father, look, man, if you buy me 10 pairs of these shoes, it'll be $100. And you never have to buy me shoes again for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And it lasted until like the mid 90s. I had them, and then they repressed them at Nike. So I bought a few more, and then they repressed them a couple years after that, and then a couple years.
So you
And
never
lately
they never endorsed you?
No.
Like Dave Mustaine, remember that's how he was trying to entice Dimebag to join. He's like, I'll give you a Nike endorsement and I'll pay you whatever. But yeah,
I didn't know that he had a Nike.
That'd be
endorsement.
badass to have an integrity logo on the back of the Nikes. So that would be fucking
If
sweet.
you want to talk to
Or
those
no,
guys, I'm game.
Even better. It should be pressed in on the sole, like a cookie cutter. So when you step on the ground, it puts the logo in the ground.
Yeah.
There
I'm
you
gonna
go.
I'm gonna hook that up. I'm gonna
Or
talk.
if you
All right,
step
do
in
it, man.
blood,
They're gonna
and
be
step
like,
on
"Who are you?"
somebody.
Click.
Yeah,
Prank
that would
call.
be but I had the same thing. Like I had 4 pairs because we used to get them. I used to go because like same thing. My parents are on a fixed income, but I love the first version. I did have the black and red pair, and I had I want maybe it was the second ones because there was a white pair with a yellow stripe, and then I had like a blue and black.
I never had the second pair.
Oh, the second
Because I had all those other ones, and I just sort of like I never even noticed that.
I don't even think they were really that different. I didn't notice a big difference.
Yeah, they were different, but they might have had a yellow thing to them. I don't remember. I've
remember
seen
the blue and
pictures of
white
them
one.
before, and I thought like, what? It's like one of those. What is it called when where people have like that thought that they have crossed universes or parallel universes. What is it called?
The parallel. What is it? Not the doppelganger effect.
Not doppelganger. It's what, like that Sinbad
parallel.
Sinbad movie with where Sinbad's a genie and everyone says they saw it, but it never existed.
Yeah.
It's like we're all like different.
It's called Mandela effect.
Okay.
Mandela effect. Yeah, well, there's all different. Well, there's the other thing too, where there's all different dimensions running concurrent.
Yeah,
with us
this
right
like
now.
parallel dimension theory and Mandela effect. So I used to sort of, not really truthfully, but I'm just joking, but I used to kind of think that the second Jordan was in that world because I never really saw that shoe.
Yeah.
Then the third one I had that one. And
I had the first for basketball, the first run of those when I was playing basketball. I think it was like 85, maybe. Yeah. I was in Catholic school. 85. Was that when they came out? 84?
Yeah,
85?
about then, yeah.
And I wore those like crazy. But then like a couple years later when I was skateboarding, it was all about Vans. Yeah. I just, switched over to slip-on Vans, checkered Vans, lace-up Vans. And I got away from the Nike. I don't know why though. I think because everybody around us was wearing Vans for some. You know how that clicky shit is.
Well, Vans was also popular, and I've always wore Vans as well. It's
hardcore, man.
Just on stage, I normally wear the Jordans because I just always have, and sometimes I wear other stuff. And people give me comments if I do. So,
it's starting a fashion trend.
Like, what happened to your shoes?
Listen, Dad, you can buy me either 10 pairs of shoes or a roll of duct tape. You figure it out.
Yeah. The first ones came in, the blue and black. I had those, and I had the blue and red, and then they came in orange. So it must have been the second ones.
Yeah, there was an orange one
I remember the
played
orange
Italy.
Yeah.
I think that's called Shattered Backboard.
Was it like orange, blue, and white?
No, it's like orange and black, like Halloween.
Oh, like Halloween ones.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But maybe their uniforms were orange and black. It wasn't.
Maybe
Halloween
that's why.
related.
Yeah.
But I always thought it was a cool one because it looked like Halloween for me. But I never was able to get
that's
that.
what it was. Maybe the ones I got were left over from some school because I know they used to do custom colors for schools too. I think.
Oh yeah.
Well, they also ran them off too. They also did what are they called? Not miscreants, but mistakes or whatever they were. The misruns, where the color. It's not orange. It's a different color, but fuck it, we're gonna use it and we'll sell it to the, instead of $10.
The glue wasn't right.
Yeah, the thing would peel off, or the strip would be the wrong way. Yeah, I remember that shit.
Yeah.
My mom would be like, "Hey, we're going to so and so to get some shoes."
Maurice the Pants Man. That was the place.
Maurice
that had all the clothes. It was this huge place.
Maurice
in
the Pants Man.
It was in Worcester, right?
Yeah, it was.
And we used to go. They had Vans for like $10.
But
Levi's
but you
like
look at it
$10.
and like the Vans name would be like crooked. It would be wrong. So the guy would
fucking slip-ons, man. They slip-ons were.
Hey, somebody's mistake is my cheapness. That's fine by that.
I spend $150 and get clothes. Clothes for the
Maurice the Pants Man and Spags, man. You get all your shopping done. Yeah.
Maurice the Pants Man was this old guy, and he made the commercial. This is Maurice the Pants Man. Come out and see us.
Let me check your inseam again. Yeah. No, I'm good, buddy. You don't need to check my inseam.
Come on. And they'd have.
I'm 12.
You walk in, you couldn't get anything. That place was huge, and there was just enough room to walk because there was so much shit in that place.
Yeah. The big warehouse stores.
It's funny as hell, man.
Hey, so we got 30 years this year for those who fear tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I know that damn, I'm old. I feel old now. I know you guys did the release at the 25th anniversary. Is there anything slated for the 30th at all?
Well, we're trying to do something, but I can't really talk about it right now. But time isn't really working in our favor to get it out in time because pressing plants are
they're closed.
They're backed up real bad.
Yep, they're closed.
Several months and stuff. So if we can get everything together fast enough, that is the goal.
Cool.
But
why do you think I'm gonna generalize this, but why do you think for Integrity fans that is like the favorite album? Is it because it's the first album, or is it because of what?
I think that it comes down to the age of the person.
Oh, okay.
Because I know there's a guy who plays bass in Integrity. He's a younger guy, and his first Integrity record was a record called Closure.
Yep.
That's his favorite. And I was like, you got to be kidding, man. I mean, I like the record, but he argues that, why he likes it. And that's valid. I'm not going to discourage him from liking it, of course, but I'm just like, well, that isn't really, in my opinion, the strongest album. But, I think that I've met people of different ages, and certain records resonate with them better. I think it has something also to do with, I wouldn't say nostalgia, but maybe like an important time in their life. That record came into their life at that same time that something was happening. Maybe they were coming to a certain age, or they were experiencing something new with their life, or experiencing underground music for the first time, perhaps different reasons. But it seems to me that people of different ages have a different favorite. And then of course there's people who just, like different ones for whatever reason as well, or don't like any of them. Of course, there's more people like that than there are that like all the records in the world.
What do we got for those people? Fuck you.
Don't listen. You mentioned Closure. You just posted recently that. Tell me a little bit about what you're doing with the Closure record.
Yeah, well, Closure. That would be. This is the 20-year anniversary for Closure, and Closure never came out on vinyl officially. There was a bootleg that came out in Australia. So this year I put out a small run of those on vinyl. But you
did you do was it Nosferatu? Did you do the drawing? Is there a drawing? What was that? That was,
well, that's from that doll. I just drawing based off looking at that doll.
But does it come with the record? Is that what it is? It's like
that's a test press.
Oh, it's a test press. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
We had a small amount of test presses, and then because if you ever had a test press before, they don't have a cover.
Yep, they're just
straight
like up
either a white like a DJ sleeve, or it's just white.
Yep.
Or sometimes it'll just say the word test press, and then information about the plant. Boring stuff that doesn't have artwork or anything interesting like that. So whenever I get the test press copies of my records, I always draw a cover for it.
That's awesome.
So the Integrity 2000, the players on that, was it the Melnick brothers? Did they play on that too, or
no? They didn't play on that. That was Dave Felton and Craig Martini. He plays in Def Leppard now. And
is he really?
Yeah,
that's crazy. Plays guitar.
Plays bass.
Plays bass.
Yeah.
Nice. Small world.
And Steve Felton played drums on that.
That's Skinny, right?
Skinny
plays in.
He's in Mushroom Head.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Who was the girl? Who was the girl vocalist that you had on Howling that did String Up My Teeth with you?
Oh, that's a lady named Monique. She's from Belgium, but she was originally from, I think, Philadelphia.
Okay.
And she was in Do the Right Thing. She was an extra in that movie.
Oh, far out. Awesome. Yeah. I just watched that like 2 weeks ago.
Did you? Yeah, it's a good movie.
My buddy Randy and I were talking about that a few weeks ago. He reminded me about it, so I watched it again. He's like, "Hey, do you remember when you and I," and he goes, "My girlfriend, we all went to Waterford, Connecticut to go see Do the Right Thing. We were the only white people in the theater." And I said, "Yeah, I was pretty scared." I put my I didn't know what the movie was about. I just like Spike Lee. I put my hood up like this and I kind of scouted down. Everybody's yelling and screaming, "Burn them, kill them." And I was like, we'll let the theater out first and then we'll get out of there. But dude, that movie was just you could release that today and it would still be pertinent and still amazing.
Hey, he's a great filmmaker.
Yeah. His what was the last one that he did? The Klansman?
Did he do that? I saw it.
Black Klansman. Oh,
Black Klansman.
Did he do that?
That was so funny, man. Yeah, they had the guy Topher Grace, the guy that played the nerd on that 70s show, played the leader of the KKK, and it was just perfect, like perfect casting, and Yeah, it was really good, man. Spike Lee is awesome, dude. His stuff is fantastic.
He had some Jordan commercials too.
Yep. Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Cartoon, right? Wasn't it like a cartoon one?
He had his own kind of shoot.
Claymation or something? Like
No, he would have like this kind of thing where it would be him talking to Jordan, and like he would say like kind of like catchphrases, and Jordan would, he had like a hat with a spinning thing on it.
oh
Yeah, I
yeah,
remember
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I remember
Like
that.
Dennis the Menace or
Yep.
some kind of
Yeah.
spin, like a helicopter.
The Quisp alien from the
Yeah, like
series.
Quisp. Yeah.
Quisp.
He had a hat like that.
Quisp.
And I think his hat would do also that kind of suicidal thing, you know,
Yeah.
Wow,
like a
that's going
painter's
back.
hat, you know,
Yeah.
where the front goes
The
up.
flip up. Yeah, the
Yeah.
like the anthrax. Yeah,
Which
Yeah,
all
or
the,
like-
which all
or
the
like
Thrasher
Anthrax.
kids wear.
right.
Yeah.
Thrasher kids wear those.
So the
Like-
hat was up. He had a spinner, and it was a special shoe. I never had that one. I think it had carpeting on it,
Really?
like on the logo on the tongue. It had like a special logo, like
Wasn't
a
it
peace sign. And
Green?
then it
Was
was
it
like-
green and yellow and red or something like that? Like
Yeah, I just
think
saw
so.
those. when I looked-
Rastafarian colors or something?
Could
Yeah,
be.
they were like
Yeah.
red, blue, and yellow. Yeah, it was-
Yeah.
I just saw those. I'm like, what the hell were these? But I don't remember those.
Yeah, I never had those either.
Mm-mm.
But
That's
Did
cool.
so I mean, you've probably asked this before if you've done interviews within the last year. How did you spend your time during the pandemic, and how did it affect you?
I'm still in it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah, that's right. Belgium is still going through it, right?
We're still in lockdown. Yeah.
Shit.
But
What did you have spikes? Is that what it was? Was it a spike recently?
well, you know, it's kind of a funny thing because we have socialized medicine here,
Mm-hmm.
but because of that, we don't pay the crazy prices for medicine either, you know.
Right.
So Pfizer is actually based here in Belgium,
Mhm.
where they developed the damn vaccine,
Yep.
but they sell it to the highest bidder.
Yep.
And so they sold out, you know, they run out of it to the people here. So they exported it all.
So fucked up. So
Yeah,
fucked
That's
up,
fucking
man.
insane.
I gotta send you the link to Dr. Cole. I don't know if you've seen the video with Dr. Cole talks about how the vitamin D deficiency and talking about another type of drug that people were using. I think it's like a horse. It's used on horses to combat what do you call it, parasites, and it's not really regulated by the USDA, so they're not using it at all over here. Or the FDA, they're not using over here on people but people have tried it and it's combated the COVID virus. I'll send you
Oh.
the link to it. It's an amazing, like 7-minute video where he just talks about how people are affected, the different parallels across the United States, you know, above the sunshine line, below the sunshine line. And yeah, he puts a lot of truth on it. You can draw whatever you want off of it, but for us down here in the South, you know, it hit pretty hard at one point, and then it kind of, people were just like, fuck it, I don't want to wear this thing anymore, I'm done. If I get it, I get it, you know.
Yeah, I've had some friends die, and it's
Mm.
been difficult with it. And I've also had a lot of friends die from isolation, killing themselves. And
Yep, suicide went up, divorce went up. Actually, divorce,
Child
even
abuse,
out.
child
Yeah,
abuse
child
went up
abuse,
big time. Big time.
Yep.
Parents are
it's a
locked up.
difficult time for people.
have you immersed yourself in art at all to kind of push through?
Yeah, I've been pretty busy with working on music and drawing and different things like that.
Mm.
Trying to keep myself busy, and also back to what we said before with skateboarding. I have a 10-year-old son. He's my youngest kid, and
too.
he wanted to pick up skateboarding, so we built some ramps out in the front of the house.
Good
And
man.
the neighborhood kids all come over and skateboard there, and
Okay, right. Yeah.
I try to teach them some stuff, and then they get to laugh when I fall down. And
Yeah.
The old man fell.
Let's go help dad up.
I
Come
got
on,
a
Dad.
Hosoi deck and or board, in
Oh,
my
yeah.
garage,
soy.
and I
wow.
ride around on that once in a while, and the kids in the neighborhood be like, "That's an old man board." They're like, "That's good,
He
but that's
was-
really big." I'm like, "Shut up, kid. I'm
Was-
50."
Was he the one that was in? He used to battle Hawk, right? Wasn't Tony Hawk and his soy The two guys that used to go against each other. I think they had a rivalry
Could've.
against each other.
Could have.
It was
They
either him or
had different
Mullen.
styles.
Yeah.
Christian
Soy
Soy
was-
would do the sort of like
He-
Christ hair, like he'd
Yeah,
fly.
he was had like the long black hair, man,
Yeah.
and like the cut shirt, and
He
Dude
then
was
still did.
always-
He's
Hawk
still
came out with
skating.
the emo flip or whatever.
And he
that
doesn't
was.
really look that much different. Dude's still in shape. He's got, I mean, he's
Yeah.
got a million tattoos, which is about the only difference. But yeah, he's still a stud.
All those guys are still rocking it. I mean, I think the only one that kind of walked away from it was it who was it?
Jeff
No,
Phillips. Was it Jeff Phillips
Phillips?
passed away or Mike McGill?
Grasso.
Grasso. That's it. Grasso. Yep. But Caballero, man, Guerra, what is it? Guerra, and then who was the one on the video? Is it I want to say, is it Walton? Was Walton one of the ones? Bones Brigade or Mullen?
Lance Mountain.
Lance Mountain was, yeah, but there was another guy that's on the
Mullen. Rodney
Was it?
Mullen.
Rodney
Rodney
Mullen.
Mullen.
Dude, that guy was, even when he was skating, he was one of my favorites. But then you go back and you watch the Bones Brigade movie that came out like 9 years ago, and he's the best part of that. He is so emotional on that video talking about skateboarding, and just his upbringing is like, holy fuck, like repressed. And his dad at the height of him being popular, like he wins his first trophy, like number one. His dad tells him to quit, pulls him away from it, and then his dad allows him to join again. And he's my favorite part of that. If
I haven't seen that movie, I'll have to check it out.
Oh, it's amazing. Bones Brigade. Came out in 2012. It's right up your alley because it's right around the timeline when we all skated. And yeah, some of the footage is amazing because I like Dogtown and Z Boys, but that was before, way before that was like early mid 70s, wasn't it? The Zephyr team.
Mullen and Gonzalez are probably the two most responsible skateboarders for changing the whole landscape of skateboarding for street.
Yeah, for street.
Because
yep. Yeah, they say
Mullen,
that. Yep.
Mullen would skate in a way like, I don't want to say it in a bad way, almost like he was doing like a mime or like doing like something on a street corner, you know?
Oh, like performance art.
Yeah, like performance art, like ballet, but he'd be in a little square spot and then he wouldn't leave that spot. He'd just do these flips and kick flips, and people couldn't even wrap their head around that. And then when they took it from that little box or that little, chalked off area and put it onto curbs and rails and downstairs and whatever else.
Yeah.
Then that sort of revolutionized skateboarding entirely. In fact, those little boards that he would ride both had the double kick on them.
Yep.
They called them freestyle boards then, what Rodney Mullen would ride. And then they just made them a little bit bigger, and that's what everybody rides now.
They show that in the video. They show them out on the street, and they're all like laying down on the board, and they're like going into the crowd and stuff. And then the next part is when they start talking about Animal Chin, the video.
Yeah. I watched that a few months ago again on YouTube.
It's
my
funny,
son. I didn't know there was a documentary about all that.
Yeah,
I think I saw something and I just assumed it was one of the old videos.
Well, I'll send you the link. Bones Brigade, the movie, is on YouTube.
Okay, yeah,
I'll send you the link. I must have watched that video like 50 times, dude. But you go back and watch it, and it's like a weird. It's so much. It's not even a skateboarding video. There's awesome skateboarding parts in Animal Chin, but it's like a real movie almost. It's like they were trying to do.
Yeah. They went on. It was. I think they tried to make it something like Pee-wee's Big Adventure or something, where they had to go on a quest to
find Animal Chin, who was
just to tie the skate locations together. They made up this character that they were looking for. And,
it's great though.
Only to reveal that it was inside them all along. I guess maybe Karate Kid. It was like Pee-wee's Big Adventure meets Karate Kid as a skateboard movie.
Wasn't that like the time where they were doing like Gleaming the Cube, and then there was like all the BMX movies were coming?
There was a Thrashing and a Gleaming the Cube.
Freestyling, Thrashing, and then it was the popping and locking, breakdancing. All that. Yeah. Anybody that's watching this that was born like after 1990 has no fucking clue what we're talking about.
I'll say if you were born in 70s, early 70s, then you appreciate it.
All that stuff was where I lived. All that stuff was sort of the same stuff, like hip hop was new and punk was new and metal was new and hardcore was half punk, half metal, and
crossover thrash, everything kind of layered. Everything crossed over in some way, shape, or form. I remember going, we used to skate at my buddy's house, at Jim's house, and so I remember someone bringing DRI crossover over, and like, you gotta fucking listen to this, and I went, whoa, what? Because I was listening to the Cro-Mags at the time, and then Crumbsuckers and stuff, but that shaped completely how music changed for me, and I was like, yes, that's mine. I want that. Yes, I'm gonna listen to that all the time. And it was little
Black
stuff.
Flag was pretty heavy metal too sounding. You know, like a lot of stuff that was
and Sabbathy. My War. My War is very.
And Raw Power. They were from Italy. They had crazy guitar solos, and Gizem from Japan.
Gizem,
solos as well.
What did you do? You did. What was the release that you put out? Was it Septic Death?
Septic Death was Pusshead's band.
Yeah, you covered.
Yeah,
you covered that. How many songs did you end up doing off of that? Do you remember?
In my lifetime, or
no, just for that release?
We've done it a couple of times throughout the years.
Because you released it digitally, I think, recently, didn't you? Like the cast.
It came out as a split LP with.
That's what it was.
Split 12-inch with Bleach Everything.
Oh, awesome band.
That might be what you're
That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, you had sent me the cover. You had sent me the tracks, the pre-tracks where I had played on my show. But I know that you've kind of like, that has been a thing too with Integrity, is there's a lot of releases, but it seems like there's a lot of singles and EPs and splits, and it's a nice balance to your, to the full albums and everything.
That gives me some time in between.
Do you ever find stuff that you had worked on before and you're like, I want to release this? This has never seen the light of day?
Yeah, I found with some of the old albums, I had everything put onto as digital. We had the old reels, like
the 1 inch or 2 inch.
Yeah. And I had all that converted to digital, so it could be played on can be edited on a computer or mixed on a computer. And there was a lot of tracks that we would record extra things, and over the years forgot about them. And so there's going to be some surprise things in the future from that.
And I also heard and saw that you've got some shows booked overseas, right? Is it Italy?
Maybe. I mean, we do have it booked, but what happened was these are rescheduled from last year's shows.
Okay.
And at this point, I'm not 100% sure if it's going to be permitted, if it's going to be allowed by the government of, for example, Italy, or
right.
I know there's a Swedish one and there's a few others, but my booking agent said, don't get your hopes up too high, so, but I don't know. Anything could happen. As we've seen lately.
When was the last time you played? Was it 2 years ago?
No, the last time that I played was in Australia in February of 2020.
And there's a video of that on YouTube.
Yeah, you do the riff.
I did an interview with that guy. Those guys from
Riff something.
Who's the guy playing drums with the long hair and all the tattoos? Is that the show that I don't know if that's the show you're talking
from Australia?
No, you're thinking of the. Are you thinking you're talking about the big
Alex
guy?
Henderson?
It's recent, and I know there's a guy who has longer hair and like a beard, and he's got a bunch of tattoos. He doesn't have a shirt on. He's playing. I had never seen that guy with you guys.
It could be Alex Henderson. He plays with us a lot.
Does he? Okay.
On drums. He used to be in Pulling Teeth. You might know who they are.
Oh yeah.
Pulling Teeth. Yep.
And he was a drummer for Pulling Teeth, and he's a tattoo artist, and somewhere down, maybe in North Carolina, actually.
Oh, really?
I'll look him up.
Somewhere down in the South. I'm not sure if it's North or South.
What's his name? Alex what?
Henderson.
Who was the guy that played drums with you? The big guy with the tattoos. For the.
Pretty much everybody has tattoos. So.
Oh no! This is hardcore.
You're talking the guy that holds little things. He's always.
Oh, Josh.
Josh holds little things.
Yeah, Josh.
Yeah. He's got things.
Yeah.
Josh Patel is
one of my. He's so like, just fluid, nonchalant. Yeah. But man, can he keep it? He keeps it tight and just, oh man.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah.
He also has a group called Ilsa, They're on
I have
Relapse.
that. Yeah, we talked about that on one of our other shows.
They released, I think, a full length last year.
Yeah.
That came out. That was
on my list. That
brilliant.
was
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was brilliant.
Yeah, they're a great band. He's an awesome guy too.
I remember seeing there was a live show you guys were playing outside, and like you turn around to start a song. You're like, where the fuck is he? He's like gone. You're like, come on. Like, oh, hang on a minute. I don't know if he broke something or what.
Could
You're
be.
like, what's? Yeah, is he? How tall is he?
He's a big guy. He's like Andre the Giant. You know?
Yeah,
he's a unit, man. Like I'm watching.
The arms are like.
It's a good thing he doesn't play like if he got pissed off, because that there wouldn't be a drum set left.
Well, he's like a gentle giant, but he's also a secret comedian. He's really hilarious guy.
Is he really?
A hell of a sense of humor and a lot of good jokes.
Is there? So you're the
talented guy.
You haven't played anything in a while for shows, but what's the
not since February?
It's February. What's the Integrity lineup now? Is there?
I don't know. We don't have any shows exactly, so it depends.
How does that work then? Do you call? I've always wondered this because
see who's available.
The staple is you, but how do you? Yeah, do you see who's like? Hey,
I have like a Legion of Doom. I can call these super villains in.
It's awesome.
And they come out of their.
I'm waiting for
That's
Igor.
The fucking best part of the interview so far. Dwid Hellion's Legion of Doom.
I'm waiting for Igor Cavalera to fucking get on one of those because I know you guys are friends.
I can't say too much, but there's a possibility that may have already happened. Igor's one of my best friends. He's a fantastic guy.
Love that guy.
I've done stuff with his. He has a group called Pet Brick. Have you heard of that?
Pet Brick. Yep. Yes.
I think
I sang on one of those songs.
Yep. Nice.
And we're good friends. In fact, I have a funny story about Igor if you want to hear it.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely.
I was friends with him, but I wasn't so close when I first knew him because of Derek. I had met him. And when I moved to Belgium, I was maybe living here for 1 or 2 years. And I lived in the city at the time. And I was walking around the city and it was around Christmas time. So we went into this toy store. And I was leaving the toy store and there was this kind of glass exit way. And as I was leaving, I looked and I noticed some people coming in. And one guy stood out to me and I thought, man, that looks like my friend Igor, but why the fuck would he be here in Belgium? He's from Brazil. And at the time it was really cold and snowing and stuff. I said he'd have to be an idiot to be here right now because he could be in the sun, you know? There's no way it's him. And I saw the same guy looked at me in a way like, what the fuck is he doing here kind of thing, you know? But I didn't know. So when I get back to my house, this is the time of MySpace and such. So I get a MySpace message from Derek and he's like, do you live in Ghent, Belgium? I said, yeah. Igor just saw you at the toy store. I said, what the fuck is Igor doing here? Oh, Igor lives on Dampoortstraat. I live on Dampoortstraat. What's his address? He lived 4 houses down from me.
No shit.
Holy shit.
Totally crazy. Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
then we become closer friends, and over the years we've become real good.
Yeah, we met him. I met him years ago. I forget what the hell it was for. But I don't know. I had some photo pass that Dave, a buddy of ours who interviews bands, gave me. He interviewed him, but like earlier or something, like I don't on the phone or something. So I had a photo pass, which allowed me to go backstage. And it was them. It was Sepultura, Biohazard, I think somebody else. So I went backstage, and Igor was there with the rest of the guys. So I gave him some Shiver shirts. So Andreas takes his shirt off and puts the Shiver shirt on. He wore it for the show, which I thought was cool. Yeah. And then Igor, we were talking because I've got like a tattoo. You can't really see it. It's like a face. It's kind of like a Paul Booth face with the eyes sewn shut. And we were talking about it, and I said, "Yeah, man, I liked yours," and I kind of ripped you off, like, because I got it years ago, you know, not long after yours. And he's like, "Oh, that's all." He's like, "Yeah, Paul Booth did this," and so I talked to him the most, probably for like maybe 20 minutes, and he gave me some stuff, and he was just super cool, man. We were trying to get him.
Great guy.
We're trying to get him on this to do the podcast with us.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Maybe
I could talk to him for you if you want.
That'd be amazing, yeah. Because
nice
being a drummer, he's like one of my top 3 favorite drummers of all time. So
he has a a drum channel or something where he's
Yeah, I've been
showing.
watching it. Yeah,
Yeah.
You watch that? Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's
And
awesome.
it shows
He
like the
describes it.
different techniques and stuff. Yeah.
Beneath
He
the
breaks down the
drums.
song. Yeah, beneath the drums. Yeah, and he's
Yeah,
got that cool logo banner behind him, and he breaks all the songs down. Like, if you want to hear a song, tell me what song, and then he breaks everything down. So
I love that.
It's
yeah,
awesome.
he's got, he's a very talented guy, but he's also got a beautiful personality too. It's, it's not always common with somebody who's as talented as he is,
Right.
Yeah.
to be as genuine,
Yeah.
and as heartfelt as Igor.
Yeah.
He's a
awesome.
wonderful guy. I love him.
Very cool. Very cool. So there was something else I wanted to ask. I can't remember what the hell it was now.
Oh, I got the cheat sheet. If you want to pull up the cheat sheet here.
No, it wasn't on that. That was
Oh, okay.
when I sent that, I was like, "Fuck, those are cheap."
Yeah, you got to talk about something because I've asked all my questions.
You've asked it all. So is there? That's what I was gonna say. So is there a like a base, like a very loose base for a new Integrity album? Like, is there a foundation for it yet, or is it still too early to do anything like or say anything about that? Or
Well, yeah, I can't really talk too much about it, but I've been working on ideas for it and storyline. And what I like to do is write like a bigger story, and then divide the story into chapters, and the chapters become the songs, sort of. But they can also
kind of like
stand
what
on
you
their
did for
own.
Howling.
Yeah, like that. But they also stood on their own, and a couple oddballs that didn't really fit into the storyline, but they just were good songs, and I wanted to keep them anyways. And so I try to do that because I think that adding that extra depth to it gives the songs more chance to breathe and become alive.
Yeah.
Like Pinocchio or
Reanimator.
Yeah, or Reanimator.
I was really impressed because Howling, I mean, I didn't know until kind of going through the lyrics that Howling was about Bacon, the artist.
Yeah, well,
And
it doesn't really say it, but it is, and so that gives me a place to go from. And
I read it afterwards. Like I was looking at it. My wife's an artist. She does. She's more into acrylics, and I was kind of talking to her about it. And she was looking at the art on it, going, "Oh, this is really cool," and I like that. And then reading the lyrics, and then I saw you had done an interview, and it was talking about the artist Bacon, and I was like, "Man, that is so in depth. Like it's such a small little morsel that you would hear about something and then expand upon it because." It's correct me if I'm wrong, but is he trapped in an alternate universe or something, or he's?
Well, the idea was that before, like the song Seven Reese Muse is the name is the address of his of his studio that he had. So the idea was originally Bacon was an interior decorator, interior designer, and he made a transition into doing fine arts. And this isn't obviously true. I just sort of made this part up, but I said, what if, and if you know anything about him, he was a very wild, decadent guy who would like to party pretty hard. So I had this idea, like, what if when he moved into this new studio, he had a party, and they had a seance, because people sometimes do that stuff when you get drunk and you want to have a wild time. And it was on Halloween, and he has a seance, and he was just basically like a normal interior decorator type guy at the point. And then he has the seance, and the seance brings him to different points in history. And these the songs that are about historical events, those are based on fact and on history. So he would go throughout time, but not like time traveling, but just like mentally being there and coming back. It wasn't like, like Beam Me Up Scotty or something,
right.
but
he was
it was
viewing
more
Back
like
to the Future.
like a vision would come to you, like you would experience what that time in history was like. And basically when he was done with those different chapters that he experienced, it changed the way he saw humanity. Right. And he saw humanity as demons and meat and this vulgar, beautiful vulgarity that he painted. And that was kind of I guess the crescendo, is that he was altered. His sight was, his lens was altered. So he saw things differently, and that changed him as a person and changed his art. And then all the other songs and the subject matter within each of the songs, historically or otherwise, uh, infected him and altered who he was, his personality, and the way that he saw the world and
It's like
interacted with other people.
the double-edged sword of, do you want to travel into the future and see what the future brings, or do you want to go back to the past and experience the past? Because if you know what's going to happen in the future, you may be able to change it, but if you knew what happened in the past, you go back and change that too. And it sounds like it's like a portal, almost like he's like clairvoyant is what it sounds.
Well, he couldn't go into the future, but he couldn't change anything. It was more just like being able to know this.
Oh, just viewing it then, just watching it. Oh, okay.
Snapshot.
He wasn't interacting with these timelines. It was
like,
just
like
observing
Scrooge,
them.
almost like Scrooge.
Yeah, it was like there was a Sabbatai Zevi, who was in 1666, was this religious leader who decided that he had about 1 million followers, and so he decided that the only way that God was going to show himself to the people, to his flock, was if they did something to piss him off. And he loved God, and his followers loved God, and he convinced them the only way we can know if God is real and if God exists is if we blaspheme against God so desperately that he'll come to punish us.
He'll come to
and at
spite
that
them.
point, we will try to
hey God,
we'll try to redeem ourselves.
Sorry, we
And so-
fucked up.
So I thought that was a great historical event, and not a lot of people had ever talked about that, and at least not that I know of in song. So that was something that I found to be interesting, and that was one of the topics of the album, was that. So he went there and saw that it had occurred, and that changed him, supposedly.
Bill, I remember one of your questions.
Yeah, and I remembered another one. I was going to
go,
tell
go ahead. You're going to say what I'm going to say. Go ahead.
No, I'm going to say the other thing first.
Okay, say that first.
What do you find as your biggest, and not to sound like cliched or cheesy, but what do you find, or what do you take your biggest influence from? Do you take it from like art, music, or is it from or reading that you do? Because I know that you do a lot of reading, and it's very interesting, like the stuff that you describe. My buddy Eric that I work with reads a lot. Like this dude fucking fires off shit, especially like World War II history and stuff like that. Like he's a fucking machine, like telling you about everything. But I noticed like it seems like these are different facets, but is there any one thing that you seem to get the majority of your influence from, or is it a combination of everything you just kind of put together?
Well, it's a bit complicated, I guess. If I had to think about it, I would say that I'm influenced by all of those different outlets, but I interpret them oftentimes wrong. My interest in music isn't necessarily musical. My interest in, like, for example, I'll pull ideas for music out of art, and I'll pull ideas for stories out of music and different things that shouldn't work that way. And I'm maybe I process things. Maybe my mind processes things the wrong way, so it gives me a different perspective on things sometimes. And that's probably my biggest influence, is the fact that I'm maybe misinterpret information and take it through the wrong channel.
I don't
Not
think
misinterpret,
it's wrong.
but I take it through a unorthodox channel, and then make it my own in a way. Or
yeah, I don't think it's wrong. I think it's what I think it's it, and with you saying that, I think it's just that is what goes back to what we talked about. When I had talked about how the whole integrity thing, catalog, songs, and everything, it's one aura, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, doing interviews and things is a bit awkward in a way for me. I mean, not because of you guys. I enjoy talking to you guys and everything, but I'm more of like a conduit. I don't really, I don't know how to explain it. It's just sort of this stuff all collects inside of me somehow, and then it gets to a point where it's ready to come out, and it comes out through sometimes ways that maybe were unexpected. Like, for example, the historical stories, or taking Francis Bacon and turning it that way, or, like other weird things about how we do the music. When I went to art school, like my strong suit was collage, which means like taking pictures and cutting them up and putting them back together again wrong, or in different patterns, or,
Right.
in a different structure. And I do that with music, and I do that with words, and I do that with even the way I think about things. And it all sort of starts to be like speaking in tongues, and it culminates in the end of the creations of these songs and these albums. But there isn't really a one tool to it. There's it's a large palette to paint from, and luckily I'm able to do that, because if I'm limited to just a couple of tools, I think it wouldn't be as important to me. And if it's not important to me, I don't think it's worth putting out. So I try to please, try to entertain myself, or try to impress myself. That's probably the wrong word, but I try to make something
Appease,
where
maybe a
I
piece.
feel it. I feel an emotion with it, a strong emotion. And there's a lot of times where songs don't have that, and then they just don't come out. And
that's important. I think that's a huge thing. And I noticed it when Greg was talking about how great the new album is, because I got the new album when it came out, and that emotion is what I got listening to it. There's so much stuff. I mean, the heavy stuff is obviously heavy, but the emotional stuff, there's stuff on there that it's fucking like a fine tooth, like knife or sword and you're like, ooh, yeah, I feel that. Like I feel it, and it's not to sound cheesy, but I really feel it. Like the dynamics.
Well, that's what it's supposed to be. I appreciate you saying
and
that.
that's the dynamics. The dynamics are what fucking hit, and it makes you emotional. It's like the slower stuff, and just the way that everything flows. You're like, holy shit, man! Like that's dynamic.
Yeah. And the solos, they're just as important as well.
Yeah.
And all the things they work together, and hopefully convey the right atmosphere and mood and emotion to the listener that they do to me. And that's really what I'm trying to do, is share something that affects me personally, and hopefully other people can resonate with that too. Some do and some don't. It just depends. But the goal isn't necessarily to get everybody to understand it. It's
Right.
that's never going to happen, and that never was the goal. But it's nice that more and more people start to enjoy it over the years.
One of the long lost art forms that I really like that bands used to do, and something you do, and Buzz Oven does, and Neurosis has done, and Cable has done, and even like bands like White Zombie has done, is the sampling. Like you hear something, you take a little snippet of it, and you just kind of interject it into the song in a certain part to make it create that mood or that flavor. And I don't want to take it away from Bill. I'll let Bill ask it, because I know you wanted to ask it. You had put one of the questions on there about one of the samples.
Yeah, the sample from the Jonestown stuff.
Yeah.
I had listened to it, and at first I'm like, what is it? And then it's funny, because once I figured out what it was, I talked to my wife about it, and she goes, yeah, do you remember we watched that special?
Yeah, that
on the whole Jonestown thing. And I said, oh, holy shit, that makes so much sense. Yeah, because she's got a crazy sense of humor, and she's into the macabre like
She's a
us,
good
you
one.
know? Yeah,
Yeah.
she's, you know, we've been together for a million years. So she was like, yeah, that's was it Jim Jones?
Yeah, Jim
Jim
Jones.
Jones, yeah.
And
Jim
so why,
Jones, he was like Reagan, when Reagan was governor of California, he put him in charge of religious minister of
Yep.
California.
I
He
never
has
knew
some kind
that.
of
That's
title.
funny. I never
Yeah.
knew that. That's,
Yeah, he wasn't just a renegade cult leader. He actually was like accepted by conservative government
he had
types
clout.
and things like that. And then he just fucking went off the rails.
It was like a switch went off and he went,
Now, did he
hey, I am God.
From what they say, did he take all these people to Ghana with him, or were all those people from Ghana? Because they don't explain a lot of that.
It's Guyana.
It's
Guyana, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, what happened was they wanted to go to a place where they could practice their faith without interruption from other people.
Yeah.
And, you know, like in all cults, everybody who joins has to give everything that they have. So they pooled the money together. They brought all the people there. They bought the land. They built up the environments there and everything. And then, you know, kind of like Lord of the Flies, things get out of whack when you're in a situation like that. Things start to get topsy-turvy, and, you know, the power dynamic starts to get even more power hungry. And what had happened was one of the ladies who was in the cult had a child with a man who at one point was in the cult and then backed out. So they were either married or they had got divorced, but she took the child with her to this. And the father wanted the child to return custody wise. And so there was a custody issue, and there were some other questions about the treatment of the people that were there from other relatives and stuff. Mm-hmm. And so a congressman, I believe, and a couple other officials took because again, he was, Jim Jones was regarded as, a
made man, basically, by the guy.
But he was regarded as like a conservative, religious person. And so these government types thought, he's one of us. Yeah, we can talk to him. There must be confusion.
Right.
Mm-hmm. There must be, some miscommunication. And once we see him face to face, it'll all be worked out. He's a good guy. I met him before with Ronald Reagan or something, Mm-hmm. And so when they go down there, well, it didn't work out that way. They're all paranoid and crazy.
Yeah, it's like Colonel, what is it? Colonel Klutz from Colonel Kultz from
it became Apocalypse Now.
Hit him with your siren, hit him with the horn, and all the heads on pikes and shit. Yeah.
So they end up killing those guys, and then they realized,
they killed the reporters.
We're not going to get out of this.
Is that what it was? They killed the reporters.
Well, they killed the congressman, and probably some reporters were with them. I don't remember that.
Yeah, they just
right off the top of my head.
Shot him
now.
on the airstrip landing space.
They shot him as their helicopter landed, and they killed them. And in the recording, you'll hear him say, "The congressman is dead. I didn't kill him, but I might as well have killed him. We all killed him. And now, we've lived and we've loved, and it's time for us to move on. We can't live in this world anymore. It's time for us to leave the evil place." Mm-hmm. And so, they believe that after living here, they would go to a better place. Yeah, Nirvana. And so they all drank the Kool-Aid, as the catchphrase goes. Oh yeah, that's where the phrase came from.
Yeah, drink the
Kool-Aid. It came from Jim Jones. Yep. It means to believe so foolhardily that you're going to drink poison and kill yourself and your children.
That had to be a nasty.
You hear the children screaming as they're dying from drinking this poison, and at the end of the recording, it's just silence. Just a record that they had playing in the background is just sort of wobbly playing along, and in the jungle, and there's nobody alive. And so I put that together and made a musical piece out of all that with
that's some 27 minutes. Like,
there's a new version that's shorter and it has better fidelity.
Oh, okay. I like the original. So I haven't heard the new one, but I'll check it out. But I like
The old one.
It was
I
so
agree.
different to hear that on an album, though. Like there was all the songs like 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, and then I was like, "What is this? What is it? Burning? What's it called?
Burning Flesh, Children to Mist.
Right?" And I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And I start listening to it, going, "What the fuck is this?" I was like, "I've heard this before," because I remember seeing every time the anniversary. For a while there on TV, when it was the anniversary of it's the 12th anniversary of, they would play some of that.
They'd play that, and then they'd play that special.
Yes, the special.
But the special wasn't really informed. I mean, it was, but it was half-ass informative because it was regular TV. They couldn't.
They couldn't expand on the.
It's like Ruby Ridge or Waco. Any of the stuff anything that they did, it was always like.
Well, that Waco special that's out that was on Netflix was pretty amazing. From his point of view. Have you seen that one?
I haven't seen it yet. I should see it.
Wow, it's pretty. They go right
from
into
Koresh's point of view.
It's from Koresh's point of view, but it's also from everybody's point of view, depending on who is saying what. But it centers in on a couple key people that were in the cult that just
is that the Taylor Kirch one or whatever his name is?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and it's actors. Obviously, it's not a documentary. It's actors playing.
He's playing like a BC Rich guitar.
Yeah, he's like playing.
He's got a rich bitch or something in it.
Yeah, he's got like the band and
like your Dom plays a lot of BC Riches. So
yeah.
Actually,
we have an endorsement from them.
I got one.
Yeah.
Right over there.
Oh yeah. I have one. I don't know if you can see it in the background there. Is it on, can you see that on the floor in the coffin case?
Yes, right over. I see in the background.
That's a bass with a BC Rich coffin case bass. Nice. It says BC Rich on the front. I don't know if you can see it from this angle.
Is that your art set up in the back over there? Your drawing?
Yeah, that's my drawing table and references and.
So
and then I got a whole bunch of instruments around here and electronic stuff.
Your studio / man cave that you're in?
Like a mad scientist lab.
That's what this is. This is above my garage. I got my drums and my guitars, and that's all I do in here.
I'm in my bedroom, isolated from the family right now. We have a puppy, so he's barking a lot. So he's in the other end of the house. But yeah. I have one more question, and then I think I am out of questions. But I want to know how you got involved and how has your relationship been. I hope it's good with Relapse.
Oh, it's great. They've treated me really well.
When did you first? I'm trying to remember when you first got linked with them. When did you first? Do you remember?
Well, for a while. I had a bad experience in the 90s with a record company that I worked with.
Yep.
And they treated me really terribly.
Yep.
And I was I had like a PTSD against record companies for a long time and I didn't trust any of them. And
Yep.
And then when I met Rennie from Relapse.
Oh, right. Okay.
We become friends and we talked and he seemed like he was a very genuine guy, and he's proven that he is, and he's kept his word on everything he's promised and more. And he's a good friend, and they're very supportive of the music and the message, everything that we do. They're always there to help us. Mm. And in the past, it was sometimes. I mean, I also worked with other labels that treated me well too. But some labels I worked with treated me terribly, and that was mostly in the 90s. So it feels great to be on a label that supports what I'm doing, and they liked the old records as well, and as well as the new ones. And so that's a nice place to be, especially when someone's going to be supportive of what you're trying to do. And this isn't the most conventional kind of music because it's not really easily labeled, as we discussed it earlier.
Right.
It doesn't fit into one tidy little box, and that's not easy for a company to sell something that doesn't fit so nicely into a box. If things were more stereotypical, that's easier to sell because you could say, hey, it's a cheeseburger. People know what that tastes like.
Right.
They're going to buy it. But if it's, something like what we offer, you never know. You know, it's not. It's an acquired taste. I think it's not for everybody.
I put Relapse up there right with like Metal Blade because they like the bands that they have too. They're fans of
They
music.
have diversity.
Yeah,
Relapse has a huge diversity.
Oh,
of
huge,
bands.
man. Yeah, huge.
The roster is all over the place.
Yeah,
but somehow it
but
also
they support.
makes
The
sense.
support is like phenomenal.
That's what Jim from my buddy Jim from Iron Monkey said that too about Relapse. He said,
yeah, it's a great label.
Yeah, that album came out was
and Iron Monkey are great as well.
Amazing.
Yeah, great. Jim's a great guy, man.
Awesome. We're gonna have him on the podcast, definitely.
Cool.
I've interviewed him once and it was absolutely hilarious. The whole entire interview was just so funny.
Yeah,
he's a crazy bastard,
but
he's awesome, man. I love him. So Bill, did you have anything else? We're come up here on the 2-hour mark.
No, man, I'll let him get. I know it's probably getting later his time.
Has it been 2 hours? Wow.
Almost, yeah.
Almost.
It's gone quick.
What is it? Is it about
almost
9:45?
It's almost 10 over here.
Okay. Cool.
Nice. Well, no, I just want to say thanks, man. Thanks for the music for all the years. I mean,
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Not too often you get to thank people that have written songs that have gotten you through a lot of, good times, bad times, and stuff like that. So that's been.
I appreciate that. It's also gotten me through a lot of bad times. I mean, that's sort of part of the process for me is that I'm able to use it to cleanse myself and try to feel better about living in this world and the things that we all have to endure,
Yeah, but thanks, man. Thanks for doing the interview with us, and it'd be great to have you on again, man. Especially,
it's my pleasure.
And in the near future, I know, when you get new stuff up or anything like that.
Yeah, I'd love that. Thank you.
Be great to have you on again.
I thank you as well for the music, man, especially that you're continuing to do the new stuff too, because every time something comes out, it's like one of those bands where I hear the band and I was like the band Clutch. I was like, they can't, this is the last Clutch record. I love this Clutch record. And then the next one comes out and I was like, no, that's the one I love. And then the next one comes out, I was like, no, I love that one, but then the back catalog is amazing. It's just a nice little layering and the solos are great. And it seems like you take the effort to pull together some amazing musicians to highlight and accent what you've been doing for a long time, and it just gels. It seems like, and I don't know if that happens very often with bands that have been around for a longevity. I mean, if you think about it, bands that have stayed along the lines, like the band Clutch has been the same members, and they've continuously put stuff out. But I just like it that it's the rotating doors are always there for the band members to come in and out of integrity, but the sound is always just like right on point. So thank you for that. And I appreciate this, Dwid. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I wish you and your family health and wealth, whatever form of wealth you think is wealthy, whether it's
thank you.
shoes or whether it's peace of mind or whatever. But
Nike endorsement.
I already got enough shoes.
Yeah, Nike. But
my wife will agree that I have too many shoes.
Yeah,
I'm the same.
I'm the Imelda Marcos of.
That's what my wife calls me. That's
really?
what my wife says. Yeah,
Oh.
I've got like 50 pairs of Vans and shoes. I've got way too many.
Oh, I'm black.
Got to be
t-shirts.
something from our generation. It's got to be something we ate or drank.
Yeah. For me, it's concert shirts. I never throw any t-shirts out. I don't fit them anymore, so I make headbands out of them, or I give them to the puppy as chew toys and stuff. But yeah, thanks a lot, Dwid. We really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. Thanks.
We will definitely do this again. So
I look forward to it.
I'm Lord Gates, and this is Wild Bill. We've been talking with Dwid Hellion from Integrity, and you can catch them on all the social medias. If I have a preference, go to Bandcamp, because there's a lot of good stuff on Bandcamp. You can find their discography on there, and you can download stuff, you can buy stuff, support the art, support the bands, support venues when they open back up. And thank you very much for listening to the Heavy Happy Hour, and we will talk to you real soon. Take care, gang.